Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the ultimate sequel to one of the best fighting games to ever grace the PS2 era, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. What a gem this game was. And I remember almost all the time searching up Dragon Ball games hoping that it would be another Tenkaichi/Raging Blast game to release. All we got was Battle of Z, Xenoverse, Fighters, and then Kakarot. Until now, after completing all episode battles and grinding online, I'm ready to review this game in its entirety. I would like to preface this by saying that mostly everything I state in this video is just my opinion. I want to encourage respectful discussion and reduce toxicity in the community, because I just know some things I'm going to discuss will trigger people. With all that being said, this is everything you need to know about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Let's begin with this game's version of story mode. It's called Episode Battle. In this mode, you have 8 different characters to choose from and experience a story from their perspective. Also, what ifs become a part of the narrative, as you can sometimes select different paths to go on, resulting in a mostly different outcome. Other times, you have to fulfill a specific requirement in the game to get the branching path. Most of the time, you have to beat the opponent really quickly, but then other times, you have to let Trunks finish you off with an ultimate attack to get a different outcome.
Do it! Do it!
Come on, kill me, I'm here! Come on, do it now, kill me!
For something as stupid and RNG as this, surely the path you unlock would be cool and worth it, right?
No way, we got you. Not a chance.
Now all of these sound cool in concept, but unfortunately, in execution, Episode Battle falters. For one, the cutscenes are kinda terrible. Don't get me wrong, I think it's cool to have a feature where you can change from the normal action camera to a POV camera, but this is only in certain cases. Characters move kinda stiff outside of the ones that are specifically mocapped, and even those ones don't look better than the normal ultimate attacks in the game. You can go from something as beautiful as this,
Alone. I could use an extra hand, yes.
to something like this.
Shall we end this? Yes.
It's just a bit strange, and it ruins the immersion for me. Also, most of the story is just a slideshow. That is an L. Now, it's obviously better than what Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had for its story mode, but I just think it could have been leagues better instead of just a little better. Some of the what ifs, though, are absurd. The biggest ones are Goku going Super Saiyan in the Saiyan Saga, Gohan continuing training resulting in Gohan Black, and then there's Future Trunks staying in the main timeline for the Tournament of Power. There's also the what if Frieza beat Goku and Vegeta during the ROF Saga, resulting in a cool decision you have to make for the Tournament of Power. You get to choose to either bring Zarbon and Dodoria, King Cold, the Ginyu Force, or Cooler. Although the coolest option, no pun intended, with Cooler doesn't really amount to much. It's just a cool addition. Oh, for God's sake. Also, I have to say this. Having Jiren and Goku Black as one of the episode battle options was a criminal waste. Jiren's branching path is the same for the most part, apart from a cheeky manga reference with him battling Master Roshi, but otherwise, it's just the same. Yeah, there's one path where he eventually gets the Super Dragon Balls, but it doesn't amount to anything that different. Oh, but Goku Black was genuinely a waste of time. A little part of me was hopeful that the branching paths could be a little more smart and over the top. What if Merd Zamasu has to go up against Beerus from our time? Or what if after Vegito defused, Goku and Vegeta resort to fusing into Gogeta? Surely they're not just gonna have the alternate paths result in Goku Black just winning and everyone just of course it did. And another thing, for a game that focused on what ifs, I kinda expected to see more of the movie villains in Episode Battle, but we just got Cooler. That was just a glorified Marvel cameo.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
Episode Battle was just wasted potential. Instead of wasting time with Jiren's and Goku Blacks, why couldn't we just have a side story episode battle that followed the DBZ movies? And why not just include some of the GT Saga too? That's what was missing from these episode battles. The special saga from BT3 was one of the most fun scenarios to play. That's completely gone from here, which is sad to see. But I'm not going to complain so much because what really matters is that the villains ended up making it in the base roster, which leads me to the next section, the characters. I remember when this game was first announced and I watched Globku's video where he said to not expect that big of a roster number. His main point was that since games have become so much more impressive graphically, it is much harder to replicate what was done in Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Well, while I respect his humility, boy did he get tossed. When that first roster screen showed up, I couldn't believe it. Like, surely GT has to be here, right? A Budokai Tenkaichi game needs GT. After Raging Blast completely omitted the series and Ultimate Tenkaichi just included Gogeta SSJ4 and Omega Shenron, this game needs GT. So the slots kept getting filled up slowly but surely, and it wasn't looking good. This is what I had to say after the Buu Saga trailer. At the time of me making this video, there's only a few slots remaining, and it's abundantly clear that GT and the movies are most likely going to be DLC. Characters that essentially defined this video game series are getting shelved as DLC. Now, if I'm wrong, then I'll eat my words, but
It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
and boy, were my words tasty as f. When that GT trailer dropped, I lost it. Yeah! One of the most cherished memories for sure. I thought I was going to cry. Look at me, man, I'm such a loser. I couldn't stop listening to Shine, the GT theme from BT3 that day. But now there were only a few slots. Movies were now 100% DLC, right? I remember this one outlandish theory that what if for the final roster trailer, it zooms out revealing more slots and we get the movie characters. I had a small bit of hope since they never came out and said 164 characters would be all of them. At that time though, it was severe copium. But because of some random Japanese leak, movie characters were in fact in the game, and I was super gassed. But I just wished I got to experience the movie characters trailer for the first time. The leak was extremely unfortunate. Regardless, the trailer was unbelievably goated.
Looks like there's lots of powerful opponents still out there.
All this to say, the marketing team for this game killed it. I've never seen such uncertainty for a roster from any game ever. They kept GT a huge secret. If that stupid leak never happened, this would easily be considered one of the best marketing schemes ever. You know what? Even with the leak, it's still so goated. I just wish there was a little more Dragon Ball representation aside from Kid Goku. Like, you gotta have Demon King Piccolo, Mercenary Tao, and even Grandpa Gohan. Along with these, you gotta have Pikkon, Super 17, and Nova Shenron all for DLC. Here's hoping they eventually make it. Now, while this is all well and good, there's one thing that sucks about the character roster: the select screen. Just gonna put it bluntly, this looks terrible visually, and the organization is horrendous. Sure, maybe I'm a nostalgia merchant for BT2 and BT3, but I loved seeing the drawing/renders in the select screen. Each character was sporting an iconic pose they did from the show. It had so much personality. The BT4 mod did such justice to the modded character renders, but now we just get characters standing there. I would have been fine with them using the official renders for the select screen. It would have been a little better. I mean, you've got personality everywhere in the game, so why is there none in the select screen?
Time to get my hands dirty for once. You just sit back and enjoy the fireworks.
You'd really better watch your mouth.
But by far the worst offender is the fact that forms aren't stacked behind the base forms. This screen looks like a mess with a billion Gokus here. I know I've spent a lot of time in this section, and honestly speaking, it is just a nitpick and not a huge deal. But it is still something I wanted to point out since the Tenkaichi select screens are very iconic. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. The lack of a second color for each character and some missing iconic costumes for other characters is very disappointing. Do you remember how Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's alternate color was a reference to the fan-made Super Saiyan 5? It sucks that was omitted in this game. Let me know down in the comments, who are you maining in the game and why? Also, leave a like and subscribe while you're down there. Let's now move to the gameplay. As someone who grew up playing Tenkaichi 3 and then Raging Blast 1 and 2, I was curious to see whether they would implement the system from the former or the latter. And surprisingly, they stuck extremely faithful to the OG BT3 fighting style. There's a hint of Raging Blast with the deflect mechanic and overall the feel of the impacts of punches, but it's mostly all just Tenkaichi. Having giants back is great, and a lot of work has been put in to make sure each character feels unique. But that being said, while most super moves look great, some of the animation just looks worse. So let's look at this move from Goku Mid from BT3. Now let's look at the same move in Sparking Zero.
We're settling this right here and now!
Animation wise, BT3 looks a lot smoother, and this is a BT3 thing in general, but the impacts in that game have still yet to be replicated in any Dragon Ball game. When you get hit in that game, it looks painful, and you can really feel the power behind each hit, probably because of the sound design, but also the way the punches look. Sparking Zero suffers from the Raging Blast problem where the impacts don't hit as much as they did in BT3. What looks more painful, this? Or this? Again, a small nitpick. Also, this Gohan move looks janky as hell. The low amount of stages in this game is also a huge bummer. All the maps kind of have that same terrain and bright atmosphere, even during the night stages. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but a mix of dark, muted things would go a long way. Destroyed City is the closest thing to that. I mean, no Kami's Lookout, what about Hell, Glacier, Kame House, or even Destroyed Earth? Thankfully though, Planet Destruction came back, but I think it's only for Planet Namek. I really hope there's a chance for more stages to come in future updates. This game also has a split screen mode, but only on one map. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal, but after playing it, I realized how boring it is. 5v5 with a friend in the same bland blue void became pretty stale. They obviously did this because they couldn't figure out a way to make the game stable enough to render twice, since all maps have destruction and collision. Probably resulted in the game being choppy and 30 FPS. So when you don't want to or can't play split screen with a friend, you resort to online play. Let's get into the section I was dreading talking about. What surprised me the most during the build up to the release of this game was the sheer amount of people talking about how the first thing they're going to do is grind ranked matches and destroy people online. And I was like, what? Aside from a small community that played Tenkaichi 3 competitively online during the Wii era, this series was never supposed to be an online competitive game. These games were made to reflect the character's power like it was in the show. Certain characters also have unique and broken abilities. Ergo, it's not supposed to be taken seriously. For the first few days, I was going to solely dedicate my time to story mode, since that looked cool, split screen, maybe casual online matches to play with a friend, and also check out custom battles. But inevitably, I decided to try ranked.
Yeah, I've got time.
Let's just say it how it is. This is one of the worst rank mode experiences you will ever have. When I first began, the lower ranks were calm, they were a little cute, you know, it was just hands, letting people charge up, it was fun. Then when you get to S rank, forget everything you know.
Oh my holy god.
You get these people who start playing this game like it's life or death, trying to cheese their way to victory. You know what I'm talking about. After image strike abuse with Super Saiyan Vegito, super counters all the time, Z Broly spamming Ki Blast when he gets sparking, Beerus and Jiren's unlockable ultimates, wild senses, infinites with giant characters, and of course, let's address the matter of the disgusting rage quits. So for ranked, if you rage quit, you don't get the loss, and the opponent doesn't get the win. Your punishment, you have to sit in the queue longer. This is by far one of the most useless punishments I have seen. Now, I'm no saint. I don't want to be disingenuous. I'll admit, I quit a few times in the beginning, but it's mostly when I came across people playing like this. Do people actually enjoy playing like this? This is simply just not fun. Maybe I shouldn't quit, but I'm just being honest. It straight up makes the match unenjoyable. I will say this though, when someone destroys me by simply outplaying me, I gladly take the loss. Simple as that. Anyway, I came across this player, so I picked Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta since he's my GOAT. And to those who say he's broken, you're just bad at the game. Yes, offense. Nah, I'm kidding, of course. But allow me to just demonstrate why I don't think he's that broken. I've been playing him since Tenkaichi 3, and now since the beginning of this game's life cycle, so I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, he is fast, has higher melee damage, and has wild sense, but that's it. Him being fast is not that big of an issue, it just makes him more susceptible to Z counters, because people are just going to be spamming up square while he's doing his rush combos. Also, his ultimate and supers are easily vanishable and can be blocked. Compared to other fighters that don't require much thought to play them, Gogeta 4 is seriously not that bad. The reason most people are complaining about him is because you're going to come up against him a lot online. After all, as a character, SSJ4 Gogeta is extremely popular. The guy is the face of Tenkaichi. I understand if it can be boring to play the same character over and over, but that doesn't mean he's broken. If anything, it just means you're getting practice fighting him. Anyways, I came up against this Z rank Ultra Instinct Goku. I beat him as you can see here, and he quit. I messaged him after, and he was trying to say I lost. Buddy, you're exposed now for sure. Essentially, his Z rank meant nothing because all he did was quit to get there. I experienced 4 or 5 rage quits after that, and some of the matches were just straight up sweaty. Also, the amount of times I've come up against people who won and done is disgusting. And that's when I realized the toxicity was overpowering me. I started to despise this game. The game I've been excited for since Tenkaichi 3. The game that got this reaction out of me. I actually started to hate it. That's when I turned it off and took a step back. I told myself to not take this game so seriously before I started playing ranked. I knew how easy it was to abuse mechanics in the game, yet I fell into that trap of playing ranked seriously. Here's the thing. The Tenkaichi series is known for being a fun party game for friends. It is by no means a game that is meant to be played at evil. People who are trying to inject this game into official high-level tournaments do not understand what this game is. There are two sides here. One side says, this Tenkaichi, it's always been like this, stop crying. Alright, let me just explain to these so-called OGs why this argument is atrocious. Were you playing online back in Tenkaichi 3? With the exception of very few people who had an insane internet connection back in 2007 and were playing on the Wii, I'm gonna say, no, you were not. Therefore, you weren't experiencing game-breaking and mechanic-abusing rats online. The most you experienced was your friend probably trying his best to annoy you in split screen.
Pausing! Why are you pausing it? Huh? Why are you pausing it? Why are you pausing it, Dion? What happened? Why are you trashed? What is going on?
If you truly believe that Sparking Zero needs no nerfs and you can truly handle going online and enjoy getting cheesed out of your mind by a character that is inherently broken, then you are never allowed to complain about the game. But guess what? You will complain because some of these mechanics are straight up not fun. Ergo, this argument is invalid. The other side is what normal people are thinking. Yeah, the game is busted and some game-breaking mechanics need to be tweaked. They've nerfed Yajirobe a little with the update, but there needs to be a balancing effect for after image strike. Back in Tenkaichi 3, if you use 3 skill gauges to get after image strike or max power, you'd get something called key sickness. This meant that you charge your key slowly until you charge your key bars full. This was an option to slightly balance the game, but for some reason, this doesn't exist at all in Sparking Zero. Having a balance patch of some sort isn't ruining the game, which is what some people actually think. As Syriac stated, it's healthy for the game. I'm very much of the mindset that this game doesn't need balance to make it a competitive fighting game, it needs patches to make it a fun fighting game. Oh, by the way, IMO, this mechanic where you get locked off your opponent needs to go. I can't tell you the number of times I come up against Beerus, he goes full power and hits his unblockable ultimate. I'm now locked off my opponent and he immediately goes full power and does the same shit again. I've no way to avoid this because I can't even see him. This is also really annoying because characters can go max power twice in a row since scale gauges fill up way too quickly in this game. Why? Because of the amount of new defensive options this game prioritizes. I'm not saying the locked off system has to go altogether, but for ultimate attacks landing, personally, I feel like that needs to go. Until this game's ranked mode receives changes like actually punishing rage quitters or tweaking the use of some of these broken attacks, do not touch ranked. The first patch has been released and has fixed the button issue, but rage quitters still don't have a massive penalty. If you want to play online so badly, play the normal online mode, which I understand is also not that great of a system, but at least there, you have a reduced chance of sweating against super counters or suffering under key blast spamming Z-Broly players. Here's another thing for the community for this game, which I briefly touched on. People who start judging people for picking a character they like are just dumb. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Actually, you've been crying about characters this whole time? Well, no, because if you've been paying attention, you'd realize that I've specifically called out players for having specific playstyle. If you play MUI Goku and you outplay me by super countering and side dashing, GG bro. If you play Z-Broly and you manage to hit me with a combo I wasn't able to super counter and then kill me with your ultimate attack, GG bro. But let's be real, that's not happening, and they're just gonna do this. If you play Super Saiyan Vegito abusing after image strikes, the game loses its fun factor. Ranked mode in any fighting game has it, where people are so hungry to get the win no matter what, and some people do actually find it fun winning no matter the cost. And unfortunately, with a game like Tenkaichi, it's so easy to abuse mechanics to get the win. With all that being said, at the end of the day, pick whatever fighter you want, guys. This is Tenkaichi. I wanted to play Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta because he's been my GOAT for years, but people out here start judging me, saying he's broken and I'm a scrub for playing him. It's a ridiculous and toxic mindset. Unfortunately though, because of the competitive nature of fighting games in general, people are gonna take losses to heart and start whining about everything about the game. It's a sad truth. Toxicity will always be there no matter what. Anyways, I spent long enough in this section of the video. Just don't play ranked, guys. It'll ruin this game for you. Let's move on to custom battle. When this game mode was announced, I couldn't believe it. Sparking Zero sounded like it was going to be the greatest Dragon Ball game of all time. You can customize cutscenes and battle conditions and add dialogue of your own, but you can only use the dialogue the game gives you, which limits a lot of the imagination. This is the biggest L of it. Yeah, I get why you can't write your own stuff because people would go off the balls mental. On second thought, this may have been a mistake. But yeah, because you can't even create your own lines, filtering for lines can take ages. I haven't played a lot of user battles, but I played some of the ones that the game has included by default, and they're okay for the most part. The supposedly really difficult ones weren't all that challenging. I tried to make it more difficult for myself by using just Super Saiyan 4 Goku against Jiren, and I was able to do it in one go. And then this made me realize something that was missing. Since ranked is an absolutely abysmal excuse for a game mode, and you've done all episode battles, what do? Sure, there's a world tournament mode, but after you've completed them all once, then what? Yes, there's custom battle, not trying to put any disrespect on that game mode. It's fun playing some wacky battles, but for me personally, I haven't felt rewarded by playing them. I mean, that's not the primary reason for playing custom battle, so that's when it hit me. When did I actually feel rewarded for playing anything in the game? In Tenkaichi 3, you play through the story to unlock characters. Yes, you can do that in Sparking Zero, but you see, there's this thing called the shop where you can outrightly just buy the characters. This worried me a little when I heard about it, because for me, the joy of playing story mode back in the day was to see what character I was going to unlock after completing a battle. Having the option to just buy the character ruins that rewarding feeling. Yeah, I get why they added something like this. It's a quicker way for people to play their favorite characters. That isn't a bad thing by any means, but for me, it just takes away that surprise and gratifying feeling. But let's just take a look at the BT4 mod. It is here where the devs made this mode called Parallel Quests, where you choose one character and progress through a bunch of quests that progressively get harder and harder until you land at the hardest one. Now, I played that developer quest, and it is harder than every single difficult battle in Sparking Zero combined. I grinded many attempts until I won, and despite not having unlocked anything, this might be a hot take, but I felt way more fulfilled by completing that than I have for anything in Sparking Zero. So here's my point. What if Sparking Zero had a game mode that had these really difficult battles, and you had to complete these to get certain characters, and these characters cannot be obtained any other way? No shop, no story mode, no wishing for them, just by playing these. Oh man, I can safely say I'd feel so gassed and rewarded for finishing them. The closest thing we have to something like this is the custom battles the devs made, and I've played them. They're not difficult at all. Super difficulty isn't difficult at all in Sparking Zero for me, so I haven't felt a genuine challenge, other than having to fight against rats online, which we've established is not fun by any means. Users can obviously make some quests that are inherently very hard, but the fact that these hard challenges aren't in the game by the devs themselves is a small L. Regardless of this issue I have with the game, the developers definitely made sure they put their heart and soul to every little detail. In this section, I just wanted to highlight a few things I noticed that show the amount of passion and love the developers have for this series. Certain characters have unique grab animations that reflect iconic moments in the anime. Goated. There's also unique team battle dialogues where if you choose a specific combination of characters, this happens.
Whoa! How many different versions of me are there?
I know father and son tend to look alike, but seriously.
I want nothing to do with any of you idiots.
To think there were this many others that would copy the visage of Goku. Perhaps I'm in good company then.
Goated. Most characters fight exactly like they did in previous games. Take the animation for Goku Early's rush attack combo. This is identical to Raging Blast 2. I like seeing that they're not just ignoring the Raging Blast series because they're also an extension of the Tenkaichi name. Z Broly's animations still have the same spirit as his animations in Tenkaichi 3 and Raging Blast. I love that amount of detail. Small things like Janemba's high launcher still has that weird chaotic looking backflip. Gogeta Super Saiyan 4 is identical to his Budokai Tenkaichi 3 cell. Rush attack animations and combo routes, you name it. Goated. And this one thing. Oh, I can't describe the amount of elation I felt when Chi-Chi's commentary came back. Back in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, you could view character renders and you could have Chi-Chi give a unique comment for each character. Such a beautifully simple feature that added so much personality to the game. Well, the Sparking Zero devs not only include Chi-Chi's commentary, but they made it so that Videl, Bulma, and Chi-Chi all get together on a Discord call and chat about each character. Holy crap, the devs are outdoing themselves. Goated. Finally, I have to mention the dedication they took to listen to community feedback. I've never seen so many amounts of changes and improvements to each new build done in such a short time during the marketing. It was actually insane. They listened to complaints about the beam clash animation being disorienting and then tweaked it so that not every beam clash has a DBS Broly dimension breaking effect, reserved only for overpowered characters. They also tweaked character models and facial animations consistently. Goated. The soundtrack is pretty good, faithful to the unique vibe that prior Tenkaichi games had with their soundtracks. Something I would have loved though is having previous tracks from games returning. That would have sent my nostalgia boner through the roof. Also really quick, that intro cinematic, euphoric. Best part, Baby Vegeta 2 versus Vegeta Blue. This animation perfectly encapsulates the energy the previous Tenkaichi intro cinematics had, and I'm so glad that they decided to include one. Also, the so-called opening theme, which presumably was supposed to be used for the intro, is now replaced by the Tournament of Power song. This was not a good choice. The opening theme needs to be unique for every Tenkaichi game. This track sounds way better for the cinematic IMO. I don't know why it was replaced. The opening song is still in the game. Also, it sucks you can't use that song as a battle theme during fights. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas as to why it was replaced. Let's go to the verdict. Sparking Zero is a faithful sequel to a beloved video game franchise that left such a big effect on fans that every single Dragon Ball game that was released after was constantly compared to it. And in my opinion, games like Xenoverse and Fighters didn't make me feel like I was playing Dragon Ball as Tenkaichi did. And finally, Sparking Zero matched that feeling. Yeah, the ranked online game mode is abysmal and just needs tweaks to make overpowered abilities have some sort of downside to them, and also needs to have more effective punishments for rage quitters. At least let them get the loss for it and give the winners the rank points. This is just basic logic. The story mode, while lacking, still offers the best what if storylines in any Dragon Ball game. Custom battle will keep this game alive for years to come, especially with mods on PC. My biggest wish was to have that rewarding feeling of unlocking characters instead of just buying them in the shop. Unlocking them didn't mean anything because I could clear out the shop on the first day, and that's exactly what I did. A small part of me also wished that some of the characters were kept hidden just to have that holy shit, they're in the game moment. Fortunately though, this isn't 2007 anymore, when social media wasn't such a big part of our lives and we could kind of be surprised when we unlock a character we didn't know was in the game. This isn't a critiquing point at all for the game, by the way, just something I would have wanted in a perfect world. More unique stages are definitely something that is needed, and I hope that support for this game extends beyond those 3 DLC packs. Overall, while I don't have that awe I have of Sparking Zero as I did with Budokai Tenkaichi 3, that can come down to one simple thing. I played Budokai Tenkaichi 3 when I was a kid, when everything was just new and incredible. I'm not that same kid anymore, so of course it's not going to be that exact same experience, and that's okay. This game series will always have a special place in my heart, and that will never change. Sparking Zero is without a doubt an essential game for all Dragon Ball fans. It gets a solid 9 out of 10. This video took a really long time to make, so please drop a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Check out these other videos I made you might like, and thanks for watching.